Hello and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people doing incredible things. Hi, I'm an art fiend because I have bought so much art in the past 2 weeks. Hi, I'm Trey, and I'm joined by a fellow art fiend, Emily. Hi, Emily.
That's right. I eat art for breakfast.
What a tasty Rembrandt. Mm.
Oh,
I feel like I just killed part of your soul.
poor Rembrandt. He's rolling in his grave.
Well, my apologies.
No, none needed. It's interesting because I've been thinking about doing some kind of online outlet for the art that I do,
Mhm.
and I've been exploring a few things. And one of the things recently, because I've been working on a lot of glass art,
Hmm.
so making like some kind of foray into the online world. So we'll see what happens there. Otherwise, how about you? What's artful in your life?
Well, this past weekend there was a pop-up Geek and Sundry festival that was here.
Okay.
So I went out to find some just fantasy pieces or pieces that would fit in the house. Wanted something a little bit different. I bought some laser cut wood pieces to put in the house. Nice little fox and a thing of Celtic runes
Okay.
to put up in the house. And then I bought from an artist from the UK.
We have an amazing artist here with us today that I would love to introduce. We have muralist and artist Jenny Vyas here with us today from Chicago, which is my hometown. So I'm very excited to talk art and Chicago with you. Welcome to the show, Jenny.
Thank you
Yay!
for having me.
Hooray.
Love all this art chat. I don't get to ever observe, so I'm really excited to hear this part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Story, are you in Chicago right now?
I am. Well, right now I'm in the suburbs. I'm at my parents' house, but yeah, I live in
Okay.
Chicago. Yeah,
Valid, close enough.
yeah.
It's all
But
Chicago when you're
so you
outside
see
of.
all my the childhood stuff. Those are
Oh,
my.
yeah.
That's my
Okay.
vision board from 15 years.
I was gonna
Oh,
ask about that.
wow.
Yeah, it's like these post-it notes, and then every time something comes to life, like I put a check mark on it. And I was looking at it today, and there's quite a bit of, yeah, a lot of check marks. Just lovely to
Oh,
see.
cool.
Were you able to add any check marks?
I will now because there are two new, really big, ambitious goals this year. So I'm really excited to kind of add those on there. There are big ones on there that I still haven't hit. So I feel like it was a good reminder today. I was just observing it right before this. And it's a good reminder to kind of revisit some of the things that I'm big on keeping promises to ourselves. And
Mm.
Mhm.
I think it's like such an important part of building your own character when you fail, even on the smallest promises. And so I was looking at, and there are some small promises that I haven't kept, and the big ones obviously haven't. It hasn't led to the big ones because of it. So it's kind of nice to see those dots connect as well.
Yeah. Well, and that makes it more intentional. Like you're not just
Yeah,
letting it happen as it happens. You're going out there and pursuing it.
yeah. I mean, it's all completely intentional. I mean, this is like if one thing my art journey has taught me is the intentions, the heavier the intentions, the real your journey is. And because your focus and everything that you do, your effort, everything aligns in that direction. It's really wonderful because you literally pool all your resources and making something happen. And to me, that happens a little bit more when I put it in writing. And I don't do this in my apartment, which I'm really I was thinking about it today in the city that I need to find a wall like this. And even in my art studio, these little post it notes.
Yeah, even if it's like on the back of a door or something where you can at least,
Well, I just
a door
built a
you
little
actually close.
yeah, I just built like a corkboard wall at
Yeah.
my studio. So I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to start putting on some post-it notes on there, some goals.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah,
I
just
should
speaking
do
it
that
out there in
too.
the universe. I feel like the universe knows then that, hey, I need to need your help to make this happen.
Well, and it keeps it like more in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean that's another thing. It keeps me kind of really attached to that desire, that dream, that goal, and turn it into an actionable item
mhm.
until I see it in front of me, reminding me at all times. When I was here, I was really doing that a lot more, spending a lot more time here. But now that I'm not here as much, I think I need more reminders in my apartment.
Right.
And I become that Post-it lady.
The whole house is covered in
Right,
Post-it.
it's like everywhere. I'm like, I could be in a Post-it commercial. Like, how do you make your dreams come true? It's all Post-its.
If you're listening, 3M.
I know, right? I need a lot of
Mhm.
sponsorships. I need Post-it. I need golden paints. I need Jacquard ink that I use.
Ooh.
Pens to write on the Post-its.
Pens would be amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
0.5 ballpoint pens only.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Be
0.5
specific.
whatever ink pens. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like a very fine tip point.
Me too.
Right?
So I do have to ask, you had said that you're wanting to put these into your apartment. So what are, if you can share with us, what's one goal that you have for yourself that you're planning on putting onto that board?
This year,
Yeah.
I want to do a solo show outside of Chicago. All my solo shows have been in Chicago to date, and so my first solo show will be outside of Chicago, and I'm aiming for New York, so that will go on there.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Yes.
ambitious goal because I have a presence here, I have relationships here, I have professional connections here, tons and tons. And New York will be a new base. While I have a presence there through my fan base, I don't have a professional base built yet. So I'm really excited to challenge myself and host a show there. I self-produce all my shows. And I have a very, very grand vision for this. This is technically my 10-year anniversary of when I started painting. And so that's what I want to do with this show. It's a very ambitious show with the stories that I want to tell. But
Okay.
that's up on the wall.
That's an awesome goal.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank
Dream
you.
big.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's literally one of my biggest dreams in a very long time.
I love it, though.
Apart from becoming a successful artist when I first started painting. Once you
Right.
sell, things shift, right? Like I started painting for fun, but once I sold, I'm like, oh my God, now I have to be successful. And so I'm trying to kind of go back to painting again, like truly painting again versus selling as much. And so this show is really about that, which I'm truly excited about.
Very nice. So for our listening audience who doesn't know what a you said published, what was the word you used?
Self-produced, yeah.
Produced, that's right. Sorry. What does that mean compared to like another like a gallery?
Sure.
Produced,
So
whatever.
with a gallery show, one, it's a very, like for me, I feel like gallery shows are very almost sterile because the white walls, while it looks cool, it's all great because it lets the art shine. It does create this little stuffy atmosphere where you're
Yeah.
not coming together to have these deeply meaningful conversations. Although my art shows are very open-hearted. So I feel like that audience that I've garnered over the last 10 years truly comes there to connect. And it's a very beautiful evening. However, for me, when I produce it in like a restaurant or like a larger space, I just feel like everybody's coming together for an evening of celebration of life and art more so than coming to an art show. And so that is a vision I had for myself. And I think like when you self-produce, everybody has their own vision. And when you have this confinement of a gallery space, which is still beautiful because I still like doing those shows, but the purpose of that is a little bit different. Then this show is not truly just about meeting collectors. It's really about meeting like souls on the same wavelength, which is very important to me. And that's what I mean when I say self-produced shows, because I get to control that end vision.
Oh, interesting. Do you have any shows going on right now?
I do have, I'm part of a group show. It's called In Her Eyes. I have a piece there. So this year I'm doing things a little bit differently. I am testing. I'm not sure if whoever watches this, I like to paint large. So I really enjoy large scale work. And I have been kind of not had the opportunity to fail as much on large scale work because it's commissioned for a lot of times. And I want to create a lot of opportunity to fail this year because I think true learnings happen when you create room for that. And so I decided to create a lot of small scale studies where I get to experiment different stories, different, concepts, and then whatever stands out from there, and create iterations of that, and then build upon that, and then paint that large piece for the show. So this year I painted one such piece. It's called Rupture, and that is part of the In Her Eyes show. It's a study. It's my first study of this year. And so I'm really excited. I'm about to do 2 more, and to see where it takes me, and because I think like once I see it painted, it's a whole different story when I see a vision of it, even if I digitally sketch it. Once I see it on canvas, if I don't feel the impact of it, and if it's done, and if it's finished, I truly feel like collectors can feel that. Like if I'm not in it, those pieces just don't sell. It's like so bizarre, and they could be beautiful, but something in them is missing on my end. Those just don't end up selling. So this year I'm taking a different approach. I'm going to paint what I truly want to paint, which means I'm going to paint all these smaller studies that, not that I don't want to paint those, but I want to see if they're as impactful on canvas as they are in my heart, inside of me.
Yeah.
And I want to go back because you said that you were excited to fail on certain of those things, which is not a common like mindset that we have, especially as being artists. I feel like a lot of times, myself included, we try to be perfectionists. So how did you come to have this mindset of being excited to fail?
So when I started, I'm an accidental artist. I'm an accidental muralist. I always say that because I started painting from this really dark place and from grief. And I really just was painting to share stories that healed, that connected us. It turned into a story of connection, with the universe, because now it's like, oh, now I get it. We are all connected. There's a through line, and there's this collective pain, collective grief, collective joy that we can all feel. But when I first started, I was like 10 years ago, it feels like I was a child back then, right? And just like I had a lot of opportunity to fail because I wasn't a professional artist, right? Like I wasn't selling work. I didn't start with the intention to sell. So the audience was just me. And if I didn't like something, I could just start over. I could just toss it. I don't get a lot of room to do that right now because I'm committed to shows. I'm committed to commissioned work. And so that opportunity to create work just for the fun of it and actually say, no, I'm not so sure if I like this. If I present a concept to a client and they love it, I don't have the room 4 months later to say, hey, I've outgrown this. They're sold, they're attached, I am painting it. Whereas me as an artist, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this, I think we grow up and every day is a new day, every month is a new inspiration. So for me, I want that malleability. I want that ability to just shift my growth and my vision as I go and be able to fail forward. And I don't get to do that when it's pre-sold work or sold work.
That's so refreshing to hear. Fail forward.
Somebody clip that.
Yeah,
please.
I know. I've already got it.
I'm sure someone's
Well, what a marvelous concept. To have this perspective of failing forward, I think sets you up so much better as an artist.
Yeah.
So how cool. And another thing is that you talked about a couple of spaces of putting it up in a restaurant, putting it up in some of these spaces where truly I would not have conceived of an art show to exist. So does that kind of play into the theme of connection that you were referring to, or what attracts you to these more unconventional spaces?
I mean, my whole journey has been so unconventional. I come from a background of marketing, so I took a very different path as an artist. When I started my Instagram, I didn't post anything. I was just consuming art at the time, not knowing I was going to be an artist. But I had made a promise to myself that I won't post anything until I felt there was something substantial to talk about. And once I found art, I was able to kind of like really share that journey. It was really beautiful to be able to offer something, because I take that very seriously. Every post I take it seriously. What do I have to offer, and what do I get in return out of this, right? Because it's a two-way street, and it's like that is sustainability to me. That is social sustainability to me. And so when I started painting, I came from an approach of marketing. I wanted to take avenues that were so unconventional, get in front of people, because I didn't want to wait 15, 20 years to get out there. So I took opportunities, like I painted live at a nightclub, I painted live at restaurants, I painted live at events, that private events people were having for the first year.
That's cool
I
though.
did live
Yeah.
painting residencies, which was so uncomfortable, but I came up with this. I defined my process as I went. And it was like being
Mhm.
in school and being paid to be in school, right? Like it was such a wonderful experience because I'm like, this is how cool is this? I'm getting paid. And at the time it was like $300, but to an artist who's literally starting off from nothing was such a gift that someone's willing to pay me for my creativity while I get to just entertain people, right? And that, I think, like it was such a beautiful experience for people because I'm very open. I can, like, I engage with everybody. I invite conversations. I talk about my process. I talk about the inspiration behind my work because I feel, and every artist has their own process. My process is pretty open. If I have a deep emotion and people question it, I am happy to share where that inspiration comes from. And most of the time, there is that direct connection with that collector, with that piece. And then I just feel like every piece of I've painted is for that collector because nobody can connect to that story better than they can, not even me. And it's like such a wonderful experience. And I started to experience that because I was willing to go out in these spaces that were so uncomfortable. But it also put me in public eye quite a bit. I mean, by the end of the first year, people would come up to me and say, "You're everywhere." And I really wasn't, but it just seemed like because I was posting every other month, "Oh, I'm going to be painting live here. I'm going to be painting live here." So to them, it just looked like I was doing so much, but it was a very strategic angle on my end. And then after the first year, I stopped painting live because it's exhausting and I don't want to do it.
Right.
Um, but after that, I started, and then I got invited to paint a mural. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't paint murals. And so, but it's just everything like, oh, do you want to paint live? I'm like, I don't paint live. And then I started doing that.
Right.
And then I was invited to paint murals. I'm like, I don't paint murals. And now I paint murals, right? Like, it's just, I think saying no is great when you know deep down that it's just a no. But if you know that, if you're scared and it's a no, then you better try it out at least once. And that's usually like the gut feeling that I go by. I'm like, is it a true hard no, or am I just scared? And if I'm scared, I'm going to try it out.
See, I'm forgetting which guest, but we had someone recently who said um, that she doesn't say no to things because she knows that that is the thing that's going to help her grow.
Sure.
And so she's learned to embrace the feeling of no and to
Yeah.
kind of like go with it. No, like boundaries respected and that sort of thing. And if it feels unsafe, that's a completely different story. But if it's just like I'm not sure and I want to maybe not say no, she's gonna just try it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that was Jennifer Lieberman, another Jenny.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
I can't remember for sure. Now we all have to go back and listen to that episode. But yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, I started doing that, and then from there, I took on private commissions. But I was also very intentional there as well. I wanted to tell stories. That was one thing that was a through line in my work. I did not want to paint portraits or family portraits. And whenever people would approach me, and that's very confusing to people, right? Because I do figure it work. And so I would always explain there's a story that I would like to tell together. And the figures that I pick are practically original because even if I use reference photos, by the time I actually paint them, they're tweaked beyond the original photo, beyond recognition. But I use them to come up with emotions. I paint emotions. And when the portrait people come to me for portraits, for example, I have so many friends who do it so beautifully. So I'm happy to pass them the information on to them. And my friends, I'm like, a lot of my friends get commissions from me because of that, which is such a great, like, because I get a lot in return too. Like whenever I need help, they're willing to step in as well. And I think that is a very beautiful thing in Chicago. I don't think a lot of cities can tout that. It's a competitive field. It's highly competitive being an artist because there's this mind of scarcity in here, and this, in the profession in general. But in Chicago, we are able to foster a very lovely community here. We are willing to, the good ones are willing to come together and help each other out because we're not, I think that's another thing though, if you have your identity as an artist and you're willing to stay true to that and say no. And the times when it's really, matters, and say no to things that don't align with your identity, then I think you are going to be able to hold that, build that community that is not threatened by each other.
I would agree with your statement about Chicago and being
Yeah.
open to that. That's how I started getting in fashion. I had,
Right.
somebody saw what I was doing with costuming for theater and things like that, and gave me an opportunity to design a collection for a runway. And I was like, what? But I didn't say no.
Love it.
And next thing I knew, I was at New York Fashion Week. So, I mean, some years passed and a whole lot of work, but it's it's something that I can relate to because, yeah, that was a Chicago thing for sure.
Right. I think people are just willing to say, oh, no, I know someone, though. I can't do this, but I know someone. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I was able to tap into all of those pieces, individually, and be able to build a really wonderful platform as an artist. So it's multifaceted. I always approach this as marketing. There's a whole social branding aspect to it. I built a brand for myself that's very authentic to my work and the stories I want to tell. I'm very intentional with my social media. I think once someone called me and said, I want to pitch your work to this new restaurant opening, but when I go to your Instagram, I'm not clear what you're doing right now as far as art goes. Is there a central place for your art? And that was like a light bulb for me, right? Like, oh my God, like I thought I was being intentional. But I was talking about 5 different things. And so I just cleaned it all out, and everything is now only art. If you want to see what I'm doing for the day or doing something fun, it's in my stories. But my heart posts are really about my art, so that if you go there, you truly understand what I do for a living and what my process is and what my journey is as an artist. So I would say that is really key for artists who are really trying to build a brand for themselves and take the unconventional path as an artist. The other thing that I've also done is group shows. I always get invited to group shows, and I try to say yes to most that I know I will be able to be a part of. And then I haven't done small shows in a long time, so I'm very excited. I just got invited to almost like an underground gallery shows. I'm very, very excited
Cool.
for that. I'm actually canceling a trip because of that, because I want to attend it. And should be just, it should be very informal. I haven't had one of those in a while, and
Nice.
I'll probably have a couple of pieces there. So I just feel like building that community is key. This is a very lonely, lonely world. And you can't do this alone. And if you have friends and community that you can tap into, like it's going to take you so far.
We have a comment in the chat that says Jenny's art is all about her truth, courage, motion, energy, and expressing her heart and stories.
Oh, thank you.
That's something I noticed about your website and your social media is there is a certain energy there, and it brings an excitement, but also it draws you in, and I really like that about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Regardless of the topic that you're addressing when you paint or what you're doing there, the whole thing has this kind of I would say consistent energy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I hope so, because now I feel like more so than ever, people say that before they see my signature, they know it's my work, which is such a lovely compliment. I just painted a mural in Cincinnati, and someone from Columbus, someone who attended the soft opening of the restaurant, mentioned that, oh, this reminds me of the work of this artist whose mural I saw in Columbus, Ohio. And the restaurant owner said, that is her. This is her work.
That's
so it's
cool.
a compliment to that. And it's lovely that people just know that it is my work.
The thing for me, and please tell me if I'm incorrect on this, but I kept noticing that eyes in particular were done in a very particular way.
Yeah.
Is that intentional? And if so, can you talk to us a little bit
that
about
is
that?
literally one of the questions I ask my clients. Do you want her looking at the camera, or do you want her looking away? And 99% of the time, they'll be look at the camera. Now I'm trying to convince them, can we put the emotion outside of the eyes? But I'm really good at capturing that emotion in this very abstract style that I have, and I still can capture that. So it's lovely to be able to do that. But yeah, it's very, very intentional. We talk about emotions first, and then I will sketch that for hours if I need to, or days in order to get these. Like there's this piece that I just painted that I just mentioned earlier, Rupture. She has these bandages that are unraveling from her face, and there's all these like, it's literally like she's unraveling, and the piece is about stillness in chaos, right? And so it is the first in the series. My show this year is titled Skin, and it's about exploring vulnerability on a very, very deep level, on a very transformative level. And it's not pretty, it's very raw, it's very gritty. And so this piece actually turned out a lot more beautiful than I thought. So I'm like, okay, that was a fail for me. But the eyes are my favorite part, because she has tears in black and white to create that. It was really like, it was so intentional. And there's this feeling, this look of like very, very peaceful look in her eyes that I wanted to capture. And so and that is what I just picked up a commission with a client whose story is phenomenal. She's a warrior. And that piece, she said exactly that she felt that it was being still in a storm. And so I just love when an emotion that I'm so intentional in capturing and the viewer can capture that. It's like connect to that. It's such a gift.
How do you connect to such emotions? Because like the stillness in a storm is like, as an abstract concept, like I can wrap my head around it, but I don't necessarily always know what that feels like. So what do you do to get in touch with those very intense emotions?
That's a great question. Honestly, it is such a layered process for me. Sometimes it takes me months to get to, like an actual execution of an idea. I will have an emotion. I wanted this. Rupture was about, so Skin, the show entirely is about coming apart and then coming together. And how do I do that through paintings without being like obvious, right? Like, because my work is very metaphorical. And I want people to still be able to insert their stories in there. So these are like just titles essentially. And I want them to write their whole paragraph, their whole, book behind it. And so how do I leave room for interpretation, for their stories to come in there, and also share these emotions that are not just mine? It's stories I've heard from people, books I've read, things that I feel. And so it's really, really hard to explain how to get from point A to point B, for example. Like, for example, there's a new concept that I've been thinking about. I have no idea how I'm going to execute it, but when we're younger, time is dense because we're trying to understand ourselves. We're trying to live life. We're trying to not get our heart broken. We're trying to not break hearts. It's just so much happening. And so time is so dense. And as we age, I think we're starting to take things out of, the equation that we don't want in our life. I think time becomes a little less dense and a little more like delicate, a little more transparent. So how do I capture that in a piece? So I'm seeing like almost this accordion thing happening, right? And so that's really how my brain works. And then I have no idea how I'm going to put it in a painting, but I think this is going to be a phenomenal piece if I can make it happen, because I can't stop thinking about it. Like, that's what happens. I'll dream about it. I'll obsess over it. It's a madness. But I can't. I've been thinking about this timepiece for almost a month now. I still don't know how I'm going to put it on paper. And sometimes it's just a matter of going to the canvas and testing it out, or going to Photoshop and testing it out, and then see what happens. And then it'll be multiple layers of iterations, and going to bed and then seeing somebody's piece, or seeing a movie, or I'm like, oh my God, I got it. So I think it's just so many things that come together with it. Sometimes a song could ignite a piece. Sometimes someone's personal story could ignite a piece. Sometimes I need to, share my heartbroken, my stories in there. Sometimes I need to talk about me.
That's relatable.
Yes.
What were you going to say, Trey?
I was agreeing with that, but I also wanted to kind of highlight that you talk about iteration.
Yeah.
And Emily, this question is also going to be for you. Look, Emily, just kidding.
I'm never ready for this, but go on.
Well, when you think to pieces that you've created, either like works that you've like photos that you've taken, or garments you've constructed, or Jenny, for you, pieces that you've kind of iterated on, or these concepts, um, that is something that's kind of new to me. So, what does your iteration process look like
I mean,
for?
I do a lot of concept work digitally. Some of it cannot be done digitally, like any of the ink work that I do, any of the abstractions that I do, I cannot do it unless I take it to paper or canvas. But the figurative parts, I do like to sketch everything out digitally. So I'll either do it in Photoshop or Procreate or on paper, and then bring it into Photoshop and then tweak it around a little bit. I've been trying to use ChatGPT. It sucks. It literally can never get me a single vision that I mean, I could tell it to 30 times and it won't do it. And then it just kicks me out and says, you're done. I give up on
trying.
it. Yeah, it literally is like, you're using too much energy. Like, you're done. So I feel like, yeah, that's my process of iteration. These studies that I'm talking about are going to be iterations, and hopefully I'll be able to share that at the show and show the different iterations, because I don't think I've ever shared the background behind each piece of how I land there. I think it would be wonderful to explain somehow on paper how I landed on this concept.
Was that the same question for me too?
Yeah, like what does your iteration process look like?
For photography, for what? Anything?
You are a multi-talented artist. You dabble in so many different kinds of art.
I don't paint, but yes, everything else.
For example, right? Like I would think that you would need to have multiple iterations of a photo to be able to land on something.
Yes. Yeah, I like to say that like the first 30 minutes of every photo shoot I delete anyway. So that's part of it. And a lot of it's just getting the model comfortable. And then if there's a model, assuming, if there's not, then it's usually like, oh, this angle change was way better than when I started. So things like that. There are times when I walk up and the very first photo I ever take is the right one. And that's like impossible to explain. I mean, because that you've been there when that's happened.
Yeah.
I've told the story a few times, but we were both at a photo shoot and I was shooting, and we came around, we told the models to go on ahead to this one area. And when we got there, they were already posing, and the way the sun hit with the trees and the light and the way they were perfect. It was perfection.
It was like the scene from, what was the Julia Roberts movie, when she walks in and she just grabs that and she's like, I'm done. And they're like, we hate you.
It was like, nobody move, don't breathe, don't do anything. This is the shot. I have to get 10,000 of this shot just to make sure that I'm not dreaming this. And but like with fashion, when I've done that, that's very different, because I do start with sketches, and I do. I can't usually just start making, although I have, and then there's usually design changes in there because like I didn't think it through, because a mermaid gown with a hoodie pocket doesn't really work because it stretches at the hip. And although one day I want to nail that. So there's things like along the way. Also, fit matters, so I kind of have to plan it better than just starting sewing fabric. So there are, plus, like they say, if you ever watch Project Runway, they a lot of times make a muslin of something first and then make it out of the final fabric, so that they're not messing up their $30 a yard silk or whatever. So
that made my pocketbook hurt just by saying that.
The $35 a yard silk satin is glorious if you don't mess it up. Anyway, I guess that's the answer.
Yeah.
I think I had it in my head, like especially when I first started sewing, and probably up until this past year when I was making those Renaissance costumes, that you worked on the one thing, then you made the final product. Like, it didn't go through a lot of design changes, and going through that laugh And what a very naive concept, but it's, I mean, it truly is like you never really start out on the final thing. You're always starting on the very beginning phases of that, and it goes through so many different design phases. So for those recovering perfectionists out there, the three designs that you have currently going on, or the three whatever, that's normal, and that's part of the process.
But wouldn't you say too that like if you're really an artist, you're open minded to those changes
Yeah.
and to the natural, organic, I guess adjustments that you need to make.
I also don't think artists are, I, at least personally, am never done with a piece. I never have an endpoint. Commissions are a beautiful way to have an endpoint. So that is what gives me that, like, oh my God, walk away. It's done because the client asked for this. But if it's something coming out of the studio that's personal, I'm never happy. And a lot of times when I'm not emotionally happy with it, I'll price it accordingly. Everyone asks me how I price things. The prices are very, very much dependent on how I feel about the piece. So
I love that.
right, because like, and there was a piece, and so I work with Artist Replete and Matthew, who runs the gallery. Whenever he's done all my shows up until now with me, and whenever he picks up the work, he's like, "What do you want to price this?" I'm like, "Oh my God, like 5,000," and he'll be like, "This is probably one of your most perfect pieces," and he'll price it higher, and that's what it will sell for. So sometimes you need that third party to really price work. So I advise artists not to price their work because it's not always accurate, because you could have had a crappy night of sleep and you're going to price everything low, and you could feel really unbelievably beautiful and together and might price something super high. So I feel like you should let others, like who are experts in the field, also help you out in pricing work.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I'm going to clip that because I also work in a place that has an art gallery attached. And when the artists are putting their stuff in the gallery and they ask me, what should I charge? I will tell them.
Yeah.
And it's usually at least double, if not triple, what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And they're like blown away until it sells for that. Like one lady made jewelry and she marked it all down half of what it was originally going to sell it for. And I went, oh, like it hurts my soul that you're doing this. And she said, no, I just feel like this area, this is what I need to price it. And then like not long after, she sold like 6 pieces in one day. And I was like, you mark it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime, my policy up until now has been, if something doesn't sell, raise the price next year. Because I just know that over time, that piece is going to be worth way more. Stuff that doesn't sell, I truly believe will accrue. And I've proven this to myself time and again.
Thank you for saying this.
No, I truly believe that. So I never like stuff that doesn't sell. I put it away. I give it a lot of love in my studio. I put it away, store it, but then it will randomly one day sell for the price you didn't think it would originally. And it's a very beautiful gift to yourself. So I always say, don't despair, because work could sell 5 years from now and you'll be shocked that that piece that you would have sold for that price back then, you are now worth this much. It's sold at this price, even if you painted it 5 years ago. So I always say, like, hold on to the work. Just don't give it away.
There is no clearance.
I never do clearance. There are no sales. I don't negotiate. There's no negotiation. That's my new policy, by the way, this year for commissions. If a client wants to negotiate even $100, I'm out. Because it's not really about the discount at that point. It really becomes about control in the end, like who has the upper hand. And I think that is a very big lesson you have to learn as an artist, as a creative, because you're an entrepreneur. Ultimately, if someone doesn't value your price for what it is, I think you're going to have struggles in that commission. And this has proven, it has never.
I was about to ask that.
It has never been incorrect on my end. Never.
Really?
Yeah.
So it ends up being a control thing?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Wow.
You don't have autonomy. It's tough. It's tough. It's those clients who don't question a single thing and just say, I came to you, you are the expert, help create something really magical. I can play and really true magic happens after the piece is finished for me. Because then I can go and like, oh, I can sleep on it for like even a month sometimes, and I'll come back and something unbelievably magical will happen to it. And so currently I have commissions. Everything I have in the pipe is like that. So I'm really excited to paint all of them, which is a very beautiful place to be in.
Yes. Yeah, you should not dread a commission.
Right. And I think that is that energy suck is so tough on your system. It's so tough on your body. But I am blessed to have really wonderful clients as well. I remember my work was in a gallery a few years ago, and the client came to purchase it and said they were purchasing it in cash. So the gallery was really shocked. And I have clients purchase work in cash all the time. And so they said, oh my God, they want to pay in cash. And they said, we offered to give them a discount. And they said, no, we want to pay the artist's price. And
Yes.
right. And that was really lovely because it wasn't even a big discount, but they pretty much said, I don't want to take a discount. And that is the greatest gift, I think, for your, because I mean, this is something, it's an investment for life, right? Like even if, let's say, my work doesn't appraise in the future for higher than what you bought it for, or even lower, but it's your emotional connection to it. Hopefully it's worth it, because I do put a lot of love in the work. And the price is, I think it's worth that much.
Yeah. That is beautiful. Those are the kinds of words that I wish the art world could hear more.
And honestly, sometimes you just know, right? There was a piece that I was told by this gallery to drop the price. This was early days. Nobody would dare to do that now. These are early days, and they said I should drop the price. And I'm like, absolutely not. I pulled a piece from the gallery, and at the next show, it sold for a couple grand higher than that. And that collector commissioned me to do another piece, much larger piece.
Yes.
Yes. I was so blown away by the story that was told in that piece because I knew it was that powerful. And I said, it is not for the collector who said that this piece should be priced lower. Because I think there's this, I don't know, there's this weird attachment to price. There's a weird connection with price and the size of a piece, right? Not the emotion and the love that went into a piece. So I think once collectors get to know their artists, sometimes the smaller pieces, because mine are so rare, are probably going to be worth more in the future because I don't paint small works. And when I do, it is so much fun and so much love that goes into that small piece. Like Rupture was just absolutely like 48 hours of just only painting that piece.
Right. And they know that about you. So they know, the collectors do.
Yeah. Like I don't have small works like that. So when I release small works, I get so excited. Even if they don't sell, I just get excited to release small works.
Yeah. Where do you think, like, I'm listening to this and I'm enjoying hearing your confidence in this. And I know you're well practiced at this now. You are like a career artist and you are well versed at what you do. But where do you think, like, were you ever not confident? And if so, like, where did that come from or how did that build for you?
I mean, imposter syndrome, I talk about it all the time. I've written about it, and that is my highest performing post ever because people connect with it so beautifully. I think we all struggle with that. I question my ability as an artist, my capacity to paint, my ability to create substantial work, right? Like, am I truly an artist, and am I just, creating stuff that is not going to mean anything in 10 years? What is my legacy going to be when I'm not here? And it's a daily struggle. I think you only win by actually telling yourself, no, you are the real thing, right? Like, and it's a daily practice for me because there are some days that are tougher than today. You're catching me on a good day, thank God. But there are some days when you can talk to me. I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. I think I should go become an actor, which would suck more. but then the imposter in me thinks that I would be better at being an actor sometimes, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, or a writer, which is like wild because I don't know. I mean, not that I wouldn't be good at either of those things because now I know the ability of starting something from nothing and what I've done out of it is a very beautiful testimony to what you're capable of. My journey started from grief, like I said, and it's like grief is a very powerful stimulant to not do anything or do everything. Grief can be so seductive because it can harm like the power of holding you down in this place of guilt. That sorrow is your identity, and if you don't stay in that space, the loss that you are the grief that you're experiencing from the loss will no longer be reversed unless you stay in the space of pain. And it's a right, like, and that to me was kind of a turning point in my moment of grief, and I wanted to take control and take charge of that, because we all have that moment where we're going through heartbreak, loss, extreme pain, that one day suddenly comes and you're like, I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like this, it feels overnight. Like success is what, 7 years in the making, happens overnight, right? Just like that, grief can ensnare you for years or months or days. And then suddenly you wake up one day and you're like, I'm okay. Because I think you take charge. And for me, the work that comes from that place was so beautiful. So now I know that if I choose something, I will be good at it. I will be successful at it, because we're all mad here. And if you know how to harness your madness in the right way, in the right direction, I think magic can happen.
Can we just get a standing ovation?
Yeah.
Can we just put,
yeah.
Do you do group therapy? What's your going rate?
No, thank you though. Thank you. But this is the goal, right? This year for Skin, I want to talk about these things. I want to paint grief. Like, I want to paint grief in a very, very captivating way. I attempted it. I attempted a lot of these works in a show called Breathe a couple of years ago. And I would say that was an epic fail. Not a single piece sold from that. Like, literally not a single piece. There were 8 pieces, not a single piece sold. And I also did not display them long, because when nothing sells at a show, I think it's a sign that you have to kind of go back home and restart. And so that was it was also, I was going through a lot that year. So it was just a year of major transitions and making some decisions that I really had to make that changed things for me forever with some people. And that show, I think, was, now when I look at it, it was such an amateur attempt at what I want to do with Skin this year. So I'm really excited, because that show was called Breathe. And I couldn't breathe that year at all. And so I was trying to paint something that I wasn't feeling at all. Like, I was suffocating that entire year. But I'm really excited to paint Skin, because it's going to be about really just shedding everything. And which is why the confidence that you feel, I think that's what great work that you're meant to do, whether it is perceived as that, as such, is not your job, right? But creating work that is great, that feels great to you, I think is so liberating. And so that the confidence from that is just unparalleled.
Agreed.
Jenny, can please make an app. Please make an app of Jennyisms and just have like a daily affirmations thing.
You're the third person who used the word Jennyism. That's adorable. No, but someday I'll host. I have this vision for a podcast, so we'll see. It's a sit-down talk show sort of a situation. So I'm very excited to hopefully embark upon that sometime this year.
I would love to see that.
I've been fairly engaged in running my brother's gym for the past couple of years, helping them build it, kind of like to build the base from the ground up because of my marketing background. And like I said, once I get sucked into something, I get so deep. And so I am literally peeling myself out of it. My brother is peeling me out of it. So getting back full-time into art this year is going to be just lovely. And I've already painted more this year alone than I painted in the last 2 years. I'm excited.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, because
that's good to hear.
Yeah, I just finished a 14-foot painting, which is just wonderful. It was probably my most detailed work I've ever painted.
Is that the one in the mural in Cincinnati?
No. So the murals everyone's always like, why do murals only take 2 days? Well, because walls don't absorb paint, right? Like, it's so easy to paint on wall. The correction is 1 coat of paint with a roller and you're ready to go. With a canvas, there's not that much room to forgive. Like if you need to redo something, you literally have to either sand it down a lot of times or repaint it, and covering up black is unforgiving on canvas versus a wall. It's so easy. Like repainting a wall is so easy. So when I paint murals, I am in, like, I call it beast mode, because I just go ham. 2.5 days, I'm out. Because I also don't want to be there for too long. I want to be out of that space. I also, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of flow state. I kind of go in flow state a lot when I paint murals. And I don't like to break that state. So I always have assistants who are willing to kind of duke it out for 17 hours with me. Our last night is always like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. We are barely walking, barely.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do 12 to 15 hours easily each day. It's beautiful work. It's just
Yeah.
get into such a zone, and when we look back, we're like so giddy from it. It's like literally it's a hive that lasts for at least 24 hours. And the best part is when clients just leave me alone. Like Cincinnati, she had no idea that hair was going to come out like that. I had no idea that hair was going to come out like that. I had no plans for it. But when I was driving, I'm like, I want this extremely abstract hair that I've never painted. And I just kept telling her, I had like, my heart was racing. I'm like, just trust me, just trust me. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if I know what I'm doing, but it came out so beautiful.
It did. That's like maybe my favorite thing you've done.
Thank you.
And
yeah,
that really spoke to me.
She was lovely to paint, and the client literally didn't check up on me once. I mean, she just had complete, utmost trust in me. I'm painting another mural for them in Columbus, Ohio this summer, so that should be just as fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Is that in a public place? Like if I was in Cincinnati, I could go see it?
It's a restaurant called Marigold.
Oh, I saw it was Marigold. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would put that on my wall.
Yeah, it's
That's
London,
amazing.
American Indian cuisine, basically influenced by Indian cuisine. It's delicious. The chef is from Chicago, and this is their 7th concept, so that'll be 8th one that they're opening in summer. They're accidental restaurateurs. They didn't plan on opening 7 concepts, but each one's doing so well, so they keep opening new ones.
And why not?
I think when you're passionate, that's what happens, right? Like, I think the universe really aligns in making your dreams come true because you're just doing it for passion and for the love of something. And when people can see that you love doing this, I think it's palpable.
So for somebody who maybe wanted to get started doing what you do, what's some advice you would give them?
Watch exactly 1 million YouTube videos.
Exactly. I'm going to write that down.
Tons and tons of videos. If you want to take some basic classes for art and for like painting, drawing, I would recommend that. If you already know anatomy, like take like a superhero character, for example. If you can easily draw that on paper fairly quickly, and you know your math, because there's math in this, right? And if you know you're able to calculate that, eyeball it and do it, you have the basics of sketching already in you. If you can't do that, then take some classes. Highly recommend that. And then the type, people always come to me because at first I was experimenting with watercolor. I didn't know what my medium was going to be. I think you have to know what kind of an artist you want to be and what kind of work you want to create. And then you'll find your medium. So truly start looking at tons and tons of videos of artists who are sharing their process or their videos, what you gravitate towards the most. For me, the sign was when I couldn't look at that work and it hurt more to watch it than, to walk away. I knew that was it. So I would pin those and then go back later. And I'm like, okay, this is the kind of work I want to create. This is the kind of work I want to create. And then eventually I started getting there. I would cry. I mean, this is tough. This is painful. You're going to cry a lot, but the rewards are unbelievable. It is probably the most cathartic thing you will do for yourself because this is a form of journaling that I didn't think I needed. And when I found it, because I don't journal, I think that's a self-criticism, perfection thing. Like I feel like if I read my journals back 10 years from now, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, you could have written that better. So I feel like I'm better off painting it and just be like, somebody bought it. So I just, so that would be my biggest piece of advice. Watch a lot of videos, get to know the kind of work you want to create, and then play. play. Best way to play is use some watercolor and paper. Cheap, very accessible, fail a lot, and then eventually you'll get somewhere. One of the best things I did for myself is I did a project called 100 Vulnerable Days. And
Okay.
I came up with this whole idea of I wanted to share emotions that were so dark, so deep, without the noise of everything else around it. Also, I knew I wasn't skilled enough to really, explore everything at the same time. So I distilled it down to the black and white silhouettes of my figures. And I explored just that for a whole year.
Hmm.
And I painted just in black and white silhouettes, just the figures, and I would paint whatever. And the way I did it was wherever light hit, I would leave blank in white, and everything else would be in black. And so the figures would appear, right? And I created a project called 100 Vulnerable Days. Day 2, someone messages me and says, I want to buy this. And I'm like Googling, I'm like, how do you price your art? Because that client was one of those who told me, responded and gave me like 5 pointers, and I'm still really good friends with her. And she said, double your price right now. And she said, I'm going to almost triple it. And it was the best compliment someone would give me, because I did do that. And I think I always say that's another thing to artists. Whatever you think you're worth way more than even me. Just know that from me. Whatever you think you're worth more than that. And then so fail a lot, commit to a project like for about 100 days. You'll be so shocked how good you are like by day 20.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It was like the best thing I could have done. But I used to paint at Soho House. I was a consultant at the time, doing social media for a bunch of different restaurants. I had a digital marketing agency. And by day 20, they were like, can you teach an art class here? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm learning myself. I'm teaching myself. And by like day 50, I like couldn't say no anymore, because they would just bug me. I used to just literally spend an hour sketching these things, and I would post it on social media. And I started teaching a class, and I taught a class for 2 years, and it would always sell out.
Awesome.
And so you just never know like where you're going to land if you commit to something. Just don't give up, because it's never going to come right away. Never.
Wise words.
So wise. Wow. Which makes me really excited for my last question of the night.
I have one more question before you get to your last question. I want to know what your favorite place to eat in Chicago is.
Oh my God, there's so many. I'm a big foodie. I will try anything and everything. I just tried Mira, the Indian cuisine. It's an Indian Mexican.
Okay.
And I think they're going to earn a Michelin star. It is unbelievable. They're really hard to get reservations. And I come from, like, I always say, I'm like, I don't want to go out Indian food, because my mama cooks really lovely food. It's unbelievable. I was blown away. Every dish is so well prepared. It is very, very unique. It's just delicious. Highly recommend that. So that's one place I love going to. I don't really have a favorite place, to be honest. I end up a lot at like I love Lyra, the Greek place.
Mm-hmm.
I do love for sushi. I order in a lot from Kai Sushi, KAI.
Okay.
Is a small little mom and pop sushi place in River North. I think they probably know my name.
Like,
I'm like, oh, you are Jenny, because I order from them at least once a week, and it's so delicious. It's very clean, simple sushi, very affordable for the quality of sushi you get. And then I would have to say Rue, because I have a mural there, but it's elevated Indian cuisine. It's also takes Indian cuisine on a whole another level that, as an Indian, you wouldn't, like, if you have a traditional Indian palate, like my parents probably wouldn't appreciate it as much, but if you have an elevated palate, it's absolutely delicious. So don't go in thinking it's traditional Indian food, because you'll be surprised, because there are some dishes in there that are so creative.
Ooh. Yeah, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Trey, sorry.
How dare you ask about like delicious cuisine?
How dare we go down the path of food?
I could give you a whole list of restaurants that I've been to. There's a place, oh my God, I have to send you the name of it. It's a small little Mexican restaurant. Her chef's name is Jenny. I am not even joking. I was shocked at the presentation. At every bite is so well thought out. It starts with a B. I'll send you the name.
Okay, yeah, please
Know
do.
the name because I would love to share here.
I would love to
Maybe
try
you guys
it.
can put it in the show notes or something. But it is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely mind blowing.
Sorry, Archer in our chat was saying, "I'm making reservations now."
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Arturo.
Last question I have for you, Jenny.
Yes.
You are able to have lunch with anyone in the world, alive or dead. Who is sitting on the opposite side of you?
It would have to be Maya Angelou.
Oh,
Good
great
choice.
answer. Yes.
I think I would like cry. I would like beg for another hour and another hour. I consume her words on a daily basis because she's just such a wise and such a lovely soul.
I love that was such a quick answer for you too.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like
that was so good.
It's a no contest for me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've thought about this quite a bit because I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people, but she, I think, would be on top.
Mm-hmm.
She is. This has been me the entire night, just clapping, like standing ovations.
I don't want to stop, but we've already been talking an hour, and we'll just have to have you come back. We'll just sit and
happy
do this
to.
again.
Happy to. I think once I'm in the throes of my show, Skin, happy to come back and talk about it because I think this is going to be a transformative year. And it's going to be physically transformative too for me because it's tackling some things that are super dark, and I'm like, it's a dark show, which I'm also very excited about. My darkest show so far was called Awaken. Very beautiful work, but the theme behind it was really understanding and making friends with your demons. And that work, the entire collection sold. And I didn't think it would sell and there's a whole audience for it. So I'm very excited to go dark again this year. Everyone's so excited when I say I'm going dark again. And like my friends are like, oh my God.
It is exciting.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jenny, your perspective on art and really just on life is so refreshing to have. So when I say that I truly see you having so much success this year, I mean, you already know that it's being spoken into existence. Your vision board from a couple years back even speaks to that. You will continue to have so much success.
Thank you. I'm terrified, but thank you.
Yes. And now we have homework. Go make a vision board with Post-its on a wall. Mm-hmm. Everybody, go do it.
Yeah.
There. I have assigned homework again.
Yes.
For our listening audience and our viewing audience, you can also keep up with Jenny on her website at jennyvyas.com. That's JennyVyas.com, and her Instagram at Jenny Vyas. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with us, Jenny.
Thank you. This was lovely meeting both of you. We're going to have to meet up. You're in Chicago, right?
I'm in Minnesota, but I grew up near Chicago.
Okay. You guys ever come to Chicago? If I'm ever in Minnesota, I'll pick you up. But when you guys come to Chicago, we have to meet up.
We do.
Yes. Of course.
My family still lives down there.
This was lovely. Both of you. Thank you so much. Really, really beautiful questions. This felt very comfortable and very, very, it's like a community.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a great time too.
I also love like reading about your story of how you guys came together with this idea. And I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as we close this episode out, we want to thank you for tuning in to the Modern Romantic Podcast. You can find more behind-the-scenes content on Patreon. Just look for us at TheModRom or on our website at themodrom.com. As we close this episode out, one last question for you all. What is your brand? Thanks. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.